Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast, episode 178. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and joining me as always is my co-host, Adam Bell.
Hey, Peter, how you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good. How about yourself?
I feel pretty good too. It's a nice
Yeah.
fall day here.
Yes.
Nothing's broken. I mean, like body-wise, I'm feeling pretty good. How about
Excellent.
you?
Excellent. I just had a 2-hour massage, so I'm feeling pretty good too. You can see like my eyes are a little puffy because like the blood was running to my head, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Did
but
did she bite you on the rear like Phoebe?
no.
No.
No, there's some of that. There's, I see someone else for that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's a different parlor altogether.
totally different massage, different type of therapy. It's totally.
Not for
Oh
the kiddies.
man, yeah, exactly. Oh man. So no, it's funny. Yeah, the weather's pretty nice here today too. And I'm back to my pretty much my pre-marathon training schedule when it comes to running now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going back to, I'm ramping back up again, but I've done a couple of 10Ks, and yesterday I did one in the trails.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's fun. So like every other day I'm just going out for a run again now. And so my running buddy Greg, he said this weekend he was going to start putting together his marathon training plan, and so I'm going to put one together too. We'll probably train, like we'll probably have different plans and just
Mm-hmm.
figure the overlap and stuff because our schedules don't always align.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily not necessarily a bad thing if we don't train the exact same time all the
Mm-hmm.
time, but we'll have plenty plenty of times during the week when we can run together again, so that'll be fun.
Cool.
Maybe.
Are you gonna do a standard marathon, another
this
ultra
one's
marathon, or
this one's
just
just a standard, yeah, so this will be next April. It's in Derry, New Hampshire, and it's called the Derry Cheap Marathon.
dairy cheap?
It's Derry Cheap.
All right.
So yeah, so that was fun, yeah.
And you
But
didn't
yeah,
hurt anything?
the only lasting effect since the ultra right now is my one of my big toes. The nail is black.
Oh, you got it.
Yep. And it feels fine. The first 2 days afterwards, it hurt. And I
Mhm.
thought it was going to come off. It felt like it was separating and stuff. It seems to have stabilized and gone back, back in. It feels pretty normal. Just like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 1 for tenderness right now.
Yeah.
And it feels like when you squeeze it, it feels solid and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on there. It doesn't hurt anymore. For like 2-3 days I couldn't wear shoes, like normal shoes. I had to wear my running
Hmm.
shoes with the extra wide toe box and the extra space,
Hmm.
or my sandals.
Yeah.
But now it seems to be getting better. So
I knew this guy a long time ago. His name was Delmer. He's probably dead by now, but I don't know. He was a marathon runner, but he said he would run the ultra marathons, and sometimes his toenails would just fall off at the end of the marathon.
I
Not immediately.
have heard that a lot about
Hmm.
that. Yeah. So I would like to think that maybe he had the wrong shoes.
Yeah, of course he was old in 1994 when I knew him.
Right.
So he was probably not running with the same quality of gear that you're running with now as far as foot
Mm-hmm.
protection goes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're probably right.
Yep. Speaking of the wrong shoes,
Uh-huh.
so like my favorite um trail running shoe to date has been the New Balance
Summit unknown.
Summit Unknown. And during COVID times, that seemed to just like go away. Like it was gone. I couldn't find it anywhere. And I looked like they had just discontinued it.
Mm-hmm.
So now apparently it exists again. It was updated just like last month in September, oddly enough, just a few days before my race.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Only nobody has any stock in it. You can't get it anywhere. And like, I went to Amazon and I looked at it, and they have all the different colors and all the different sizes. And I found the color that I want and the size that I want. And they show a bunch that aren't there. They're grayed out, right? So like I can't get a 7.5, 7.5 wide. They don't have that, but they have a 12 wide, which is what I wear. I'm like, great. I select it, I add it to my cart, and it says temporarily out of stock. We'll let you know when it's back in stock.
You know, that is an interesting phenomenon that I just figured out with the lavender farm.
Yeah.
You've got, well, like that story with New Balance with that particular product. If you're going to play big, you got to be prepared to deliver big.
You think?
So, well, yeah, I mean, because, but because I was thinking of how daunting a task it is to come up with a shoe line. So let's say that you came out with this super awesome shoe. It's worse for you to show the best shoe on the planet that you can't buy than it is to actually make it. I mean, it's like, how many people hate Elon Musk because he can't deliver a great product?
Apparently not enough to keep him from becoming the world's richest man.
Not enough, but yeah, but I mean, just imagine if he was able to deliver his ideas and his product or service that he has in mind. So it, like I said, it's almost worse to not, it's worse to have an idea that you can't deliver than, have a small product that you can deliver and
From
niche
my
it down.
perspective, it is.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that at the lavender farm. So I was imagining, I was like, just imagine if Marriott decided that they wanted to use our lavender in all their soaps. Let's just say that they're like, okay, yeah, we want Roaming Rome soap in every one of our hotels. Like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of money. I can't deliver that. It might as well.
How am I going to do that?
How am I going to do that? I'm not prepared to do that. So it's way worse for me to have that deal and lose it than to never have had it at all.
You must have come across business opportunities though that you had to, like, you couldn't fulfill.
Deliver.
Yeah, you must have, like, this is just too big for us, right? I can't do this.
I can't say that I have.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're just because it kind of petered out. It wasn't it petered out.
I caught that.
That was not a slam on you. That
You're
just
telling
happened.
me that I can't deliver. Thanks. Oh man, and I thought I was having feelings of inadequacy with women. Now you're telling me this in my business today. Huh? What am I gonna do?
No, it's just the service that we offered and the service that they needed. We couldn't. It never really got that far. So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but it's an interesting problem that I never perceived before. I mean, it's a very common problem because lots of people have products, they get known on the internet for whatever reason. Then now all of a sudden they've got to produce it. And it's the negativity that you get by not delivering your product is almost way worse than delivering a mediocre product.
Yeah, and then you can do the Texas thing, the Tesla thing, and do both. Not deliver, and then you deliver, a good, well, there's that slight difference. You deliver a good product with crap service.
Yeah.
Or you deliver what starts to be a good product, which rapidly peters out. I tell you.
Yeah, I'm putting that down. Products that peter out. I need to it doesn't need to be capitalized though.
It doesn't, right? Thank you for specifying that, or unspecifying that, as the case may be.
Oh, that's funny.
Man.
So, did you, before we leave the marathon,
yes,
did you
I'm
get
still
to
here.
wear the Ultra Apple Watch to the marathon? To the Ultra Marathon?
Very funny. That would have been nice. That was my intention. And no, I did not.
Uh-huh.
Because here's the reason why. I wanted to I didn't want to wait. I wanted to pick the watch up in store, and I didn't want to order it and take a chance that it would be delivered to my house while I was gone for a few days and sitting outside on the front deck or whatnot. And the Apple stores had none in stock. And so I ended up ordering one and picking it up in person but the only one they had was the Alpine loop, right?
Uh-huh.
And I wanted the trail loop, the endurance loop, because the Alpine loop, I get it. You know, it's cool, and it's got this hook type clasp, which is like reminiscent of a carabiner, you know, a
Oh
hook that a
yeah.
hiker would use and stuff, which is great. It's really secure, and it, you know, I can snugly put it like a little tighter for a workout fit or a little looser for casual fit. So
Mm-hmm.
that's good. But you can see how I'm sort of struggling with it just a little
Yeah.
bit if you're
Yeah, I'm
watching the
watching
video.
that.
And I don't want to be doing that when I'm running,
No.
which is why I want the trail loop, which is Velcro. It has this extra little pull tab on it. You can just pull it and adjust it real quick, which is not
Nice.
terribly different from the standard Velcro ones that I've seen, you know, that the other Apple's watches have.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if it's so good. I'm not sure if it's worth the $99 that Apple is charging for
Mm-hmm.
these.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, well, you know what I can do? Because I wanted this watch, but then I was told that I wasn't going to be able to get the trail loop, the endurance athlete trail loop until like, I forget, there was a number of different, like Best Buy had it at this time, Apple had it at this time, Verizon had it at this time. And I was tempted to go with Verizon because number one, they would maybe have a better chance of activating the stupid thing without me taking weeks and weeks of going through tech support to try to get them to fix it, which is what happened the last time Apple swapped out a watch for me.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, they were offering $180 in trade for my Series 6
Nice.
as opposed to 120, which is what Apple was offering me.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out Verizon was not going to do it until they weren't going to have that until like November 17th or something. I'm like, no,
Oh.
I don't want to wait another month. Mostly, I really wanted to do this. I traded it. So what happened is my running buddy, Greg, paid me $120 for my Series 6.
Yeah.
So now I have another Apple Watch workout buddy. But more importantly, when I go for runs, I have a running buddy who has accurate GPS tracking and a decent watch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy about that because he was using this ancient Fitbit thing, and like half the time it'd be like he's waiting for GPS, waiting for GPS.
Yeah.
And then we would go and he would message me and it would lose like half of his run at the end. You know, you'd look on the Strava map and it's like curve, up and down, straight line right back to the parking lot.
Good job.
This is where
He
I
flew.
I flew over the mountain. Exactly. So I'm glad that, you know, so we got him upgraded. And what's kind of funny is I learned if you pay monthly for Apple Care, if you do the monthly thing as opposed to the annual or the 2-year plan, you cannot transfer that to someone else. You can transfer it to your own new device, but you can't transfer it to a new person. So
that means they can't get Apple Care on that watch.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah, which sucks. So
even though it's been under Apple Care its whole life.
The whole time. Yep. Still is now. So the funny thing is he took it and he has the it showed up in his whatchamacallit, his Apple ID. It automatically was removed out of my devices in Apple, which I was kind of surprised about because, you know, like when I look and find my devices and I log into the iCloud portal, I had devices that I have traded into Apple that have sat there for like years. That, you know, which tells me that they probably just got recycled or something.
Yeah.
But apparently, since he added it to his account,
you didn't even remove it from yours?
I didn't have a chance. I logged in to remove it and it was gone.
Oh.
And he had it.
So if I come to visit, I might walk away with your Ultra and I'll just attach it to my account while you're not looking.
And I will still have the privilege of paying for Apple Care because that is still in my account.
You're welcome.
Yes, exactly. So what I told him was that I would leave, you know, I would just leave it on. I think it goes until the end of this month. I said I would just, I mean, he's one of my closest friends. So, you know, I said, if you want to keep it under Apple Care, you know, pay me $4 a month or, you know, buy a beer or, you know, whatever, a donut when we go after a run or something like that. So, so there you go.
Except you'll have to call it in if it has problems.
Well, you can just say his name is Greg. They're not going to know.
I mean, Peter.
Right. He could say, well, he
Yeah.
could say his name is Greg, and then they might ask him what the hell he's doing with Peter's watch. But besides that,
Yeah. He's petered out again.
yeah. Well, I guess it's better than Gregging out, right?
Gregging
So
out, better than Gregging out.
he Gregged out. Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, other than that, I really do like the Ultra.
is it
First
faster?
impressions, it's heavy.
Heavy.
It's definitely, it is a heavier than the old ones, noticeably heavier. The size difference does not bother me, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
feel, it is definitely bigger, but I, heard some people complaining, oh my God, it's so much, it makes my wrist look so small. And like, I guess I don't have that problem. I'm not
Yeah.
compensating for something.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, just you know what they say about men with big breasts. I mean,
Gotta wear big watches.
gotta, gotta watch it.
So I got used to that though, but I noticed like some of the older straps that I have, if it's not really snug for working out, it needs to be like a little tighter, because the older ones that I would have that would give like a snug enough fit for a run, it's
Mhm.
not snug enough for the heavy watch, so it starts to shake and wobble around.
Mhm.
So you need something, stronger like that. So what I was saying though is like I really wanted that endurance loop. So I thought about, well, I could just return it because I bought it at Best Buy. They've got a return policy. And maybe I could return it and exchange it for one with the right band that I wanted, and not have to pay $99 for a new one.
Mhm.
And then Best Buy is like, well, we may charge you a $45 restocking fee. Plus I have to go there, and and then I have to take that roulette chance of Verizon screwing up the transfer again when I return this one and activate the new one, and cancel Apple Care. And I'm like, let me go over to Etsy. And I go over to Etsy and I look, and I found a brand spanking new, really nice polished imitation knockoff, whatever, looks just like the Apple Watch Ultra bands for $7.50 shipped.
Probably made by the same children in a third world country.
In a sweatshop. Yep. Problem solved. So yeah, so that's what I did there. And yeah, I like the Ultra. It takes a long time to charge. It definitely charges more slowly because it's got the bigger battery, but it
Mhm.
discharges way slower too. And I'm not even, it's like, this is the way it should be. I am not constantly staring at the battery like before I go, oh, I don't have it at 95% before I go out on a 10K run. I'm gonna, range anxiety. Oh my God,
Mhm.
that's gone. That's gone. So I'm very happy about that.
And when you
Um,
say, so how long can you get, like if you were to go run with a 95% charge right now, what would you
yeah.
come back with?
I mean, if I did a 10K, it'd probably be down like 10-15% or something, maybe
And that's
10%.
using the cellular with it?
Yeah, with everything enabled. Yeah. I don't remember what it was yesterday. I think I left yesterday morning. It was around 80 or 85 or 90%.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't even remember what it came back was, but that's the point, is like I'm not fixated on it because it's
Mhm.
got enough battery life that I don't have to be,
Yeah.
which is nice. So yeah, so that's going on. One thing that's different is now it has a button on the other side, in addition to the digital crown and the whatever the button that they have. There's
Yeah.
another new action button, which for me, when I hit it, it just opens the workout app.
Mhm.
But I used to wear my Apple Watch upside down. I would flip it so that the
Mhm.
dial, you'd have to use your thumb to move the crown dial around.
Mhm.
And the reason I did that is like if I would do push-ups, or if I was doing like mountain biking or kayaking where I was wearing my gloves, I would always be triggering those
Yep.
buttons.
Mhm.
Well, now that we have the protector around there, that
Yeah.
doesn't happen anymore.
Nice.
So I have flipped the watch back to the where it is, where it's intended to be. Thank you, Tim Cook, Steve Jobs, Johnny Ive, whoever developed this thing. But what I find now is when I go to squeeze the watch to push one of those buttons,
You're
I
squeezing.
trigger the other one and I start a workout. So I got to work on that a little bit about repositioning and retraining my muscle memory on that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Well, cool.
yeah. So
Well,
overall, I like it. Yes, everything they say about it is true. It's not as good a battery life as the Garmin Phoenix, yada yada. I get it. It's true. You're right. but it's an Apple Watch, which I like. I am happy in the Apple ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So, so therefore it's, I'm happy, and it's the best Apple Watch I've ever had.
uh, so I am going to have to get another fitness tracker,
Yep.
because I want I want to track it and I want to lose weight. So if I'm going to lose weight, I've got to know how many calories I'm accurately burning to
Yep.
how much I can accurately eat. Because if you're not tracking, you're I mean, you end up eating like, oh, if you had a 2,000 budget and you don't track it, you're probably doing 2,800, 3,000. At least me.
Probably, what do
Yeah.
they say? What gets managed gets measured. No, what gets
Oh,
measured gets managed,
yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to get back on a fitness tracker, because I do want to lose some weight before next spring.
Come
And
back. Come
yeah,
back to the dark side.
what I may do is there a smaller ultra?
Now,
Like,
there is one Ultra. The only variation is in the bands, not even the colors right now.
because the Apple
So,
Watch, the 7, I guess the one that I had, I
yep.
would like it to be slightly smaller. And that's just because the watch is kind of I live a very active lifestyle,
Yep.
and that edge, I just knew I was going to tear it up. I mean,
So, two things. They do make smaller models. There's
mhm,
the 42 millimeter, right? Which is,
mhm.
for well, generally for women, but
Yeah.
so they do make the smaller version there, and you can also you can get a case for it,
See,
and
I
I
could
know a
get
lot of people don't want to, I don't want a case. I had a case on mine for a long time, and I didn't mind it. The only time that I had any problems with my case was in the summer running when it's really hot.
mhm,
And sweat would start to build up under the case
mhm,
and make it impossible to use the touchscreen.
yeah. So
So that's the only time I had a problem with them.
what I may do is get the smaller size and then get the protector, which will probably take it to about the size the large one would be without a
Mm-hmm.
protector,
Yep.
because I do kettlebells on a regular basis. And when I
Okay.
pick up the kettlebell, it swings down.
Oh,
It,
that's the one thing yes, I cannot do like a Turkish get up or something like
yeah.
that with an Apple Watch. No, without, what I have to do is I have to flip it around every time.
Yep.
Like every whichever move I'm doing, I have to flip the watch. That becomes a pain. I feel you.
Yeah.
One thing you could do for that though, which I've done, is if you have a nice big adjustable strap, just
Mhm.
adjust it and wear it on your higher
Forearm.
up on your forearm. Yep.
Mhm.
That works. And I found too, not only does it work, it gives way more accurate readings for heart
Yeah.
rate. Yeah. So that is something you could consider doing when you're doing kettlebell workouts. Just wear it like this.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
funny. One of the women in our class, in our at our morning CrossFit class, she wears her fitness tracker on her ankle because she wears a watch, but she wants to do the tracking and she doesn't want to wear two devices. And
Interesting.
so we make fun of her, tell her don't get too far. The sheriff will come looking. Yeah.
That's funny because I have my watch and I wear a heart rate monitor, but I usually wear my heart rate monitor on my upper arm around my biceps triceps area.
Hmm.
So that's what I do. That seems to be least invasive for me. So,
Yeah. So I'm gonna take a look at the Garmin, a serious look at the Garmin.
yep.
I did like there's some things I liked about the Apple Watch. The one thing that really, the only really annoying thing was it didn't always respond to my touch. Like a
Hmm.
slide. I hate hitting things 3 or 4 times to get them to do what I want. I don't know if
Yeah.
maybe I've got rough hands. I don't know.
I mean, I've had stuff like that happen from time to time, but it was a rarity,
Hmm.
So in general, I've found it to be pretty responsive.
Hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. I may come back into the Apple world. We'll see.
I will welcome you back with open arms.
At least I didn't throw the Apple Watch in a creek.
Yep, that's good. Oh man. All
All
right.
right.
What else we got?
So, are you watching Lord of the Rings: The Ring of Power?
I am not.
Are you going to?
Probably.
Yeah, I I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would.
Okay.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, I've watched all of the Lord of the Rings. I mean, I've
Yeah.
watched the whole series, the Hobbit series. I
Oh,
mean, so I've
yes.
watched them all. I'm a fantasy guy,
Oh, yeah.
but I didn't really say I was in love with it. I mean,
Okay.
it's not my favorite because I read a lot of fantasy before Tolkien. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I read a lot of fantasy in the 90s that was predecessors to Tolkien. And then somebody said, "Well, oh, you love all this fantasy. You should read The Hobbit." I'm like, "Oh, good." I mean, they're like, "It's a classic." And I
Yeah.
read it and I was like, "This is like a child's book." Compared to the fantasy fiction that I had been reading,
Mm-hmm.
it was groundbreaking then when he wrote
Yeah.
it,
Oh, yeah.
but it wasn't groundbreaking 20 years later when people had emulated what
Yes. And
what he
improved
had
and
written.
refined upon. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but it's interesting, the Ring of Power, and it's like adding some history. It's adding prequel stuff that you didn't I don't know, it's just making it a deeper.
So now is this new original content, or is this stuff lifted from other Tolkien works? Like, is this like, from the Silmarillion and other things, or is this stuff that Amazon people have made up?
I do not know the answer to that. But the thought occurred to me. And I was like, well, is this yeah, like you said, is this our other content, or is
Mm-hmm.
this complete fiction, like the what is the dragon,
House of Dragons.
yeah,
Yes.
House of Dragons. I
Uh,
mean, the
uh,
author's dead.
yeah, exactly. Who's doing it? But then again, George R. R. Martin is still alive, and that didn't stop him from not doing the last season of There's that Game of Thrones. There we
Yeah,
go.
Game of Thrones.
The
I thought he
names.
was dead.
George R. R. Martin?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Huh. Uh, George.
J.R.R. Tolkien is.
Yeah. I thought Martin was dead.
No,
I guess that's why. I mean, I thought he
no,
was
he was
dead
just on
since.
Yahoo News 17 hours ago.
No, well, he's
Yeah.
not dead yet.
No, he just didn't finish. He, got into that, like, I don't know. It's like the same thing like happens to, like, a lot of prolific writers sometimes just don't finish stuff, you
Yeah.
know. So
Oh, that's funny. They call him the American Tolkien. I don't
it's
know about that.
I mean, it's not really I listened to an interview of him years ago on NPR, and it was uh like not a mistake that his name, he has RR as his middle initials and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Was that wasn't a coincidence. He did that on purpose
Mm-hmm.
to make him sound more Tolkien-esque. And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, okay, well, there you go. So
Yeah. And then so last week? What? Yeah, yeah, last week I was in Hawaii.
yep.
Well, while in Hawaii, I was like, my wife and I decided to go surfing. Never
You told
surfed.
me, you mentioned that.
Yeah, never been surfing in my life. I'm
Can't
like,
say that anymore.
yeah. I'm like, well, we're in Hawaii. These are definitely kiddie waves. I mean, it was, I said, there's a surf school. Let's go to surf school.
Let's
And
surf.
yeah, and we did. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to try to do some more. And that's why I was querying you and Scott to see if you guys surfed. I'm like,
Got it.
hey, this might be a good opportunity to get the three of us together in places from time to time and go surfing.
There's an interesting idea. And
Because he's on
now,
the West Coast, we could surf out there.
yeah,
The East
yeah.
Coast, we could surf. We can surf in the East Coast in certain times of the year, and the southern East Coast, we could surf in Florida. Um,
Yeah, I guess I would have to. Yeah, I would have to take up surfing, I suppose.
well, I mean, I'm one lesson ahead of you. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have spent exactly 1.5 hours of my life surfing.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
No, I have a few. I know three people, all ladies, who have surfed.
Hmm.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know any guys who've surfed other than you now. You're the first one.
Yeah. I mean, you find a hot surfer chick.
Well, I mean, I might have a date with one this weekend for all we know. I mean, it's
For all
just
we know, that might be a
for all we know. Oh man, that's pretty
well,
funny.
and it was a really good workout. I mean,
Yeah, I've heard
uh,
that.
the paddle out, get to where you're going to go. The entire experience is on balance, so you're using all your core muscles all
Mm-hmm.
throughout the whole experience. And then I saw some really old people who were still surfing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were in good shape too. I mean,
Yep.
so
Yep.
I didn't see a lot of fat people out there surfing other than myself. Um,
Okay.
so the majority of people who were surfing were in good shape, and uh, you really don't have to go as fast. I mean, obviously, if you're going to do these competition waves, those guys are in phenomenal shape and phenomenal, up on their game. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I'm talking about get out there, find a decent wave and ride it in. You could do that at any age. You don't have to be really fast. You got to have good balance. You got to have a good, ability, upper body strength to paddle, get to where you need to be, and then stand up.
Yep. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So maybe I can convince you, you and Scott, or maybe you, or maybe Scott, somebody go surfing with me.
Well, go surfing, surfing safari. I mean, it could be fun. I mean, a lot of people do it, so apparently, they must think it's fun. Otherwise, why
Hmm.
would they do it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
we'll see. I think my next jaunt
Scott
may be
Wilsey.
to Scott will. Yeah, Scott will see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. The I think I'm gonna try to go to Cocoa Beach. So the
Cocoa.
Ron John surf shop
Ron
is there.
John Surf Shop. Yes, I have heard of this.
Yeah, I've heard of. I mean, I've seen their gear and shirts and things like that. I'm like, oh, I didn't know it was a real surf shop. I thought it
It's a
was just,
thing.
yeah, that was like Ocean Pacific or whatever. But cool.
OP. The
So
the original OP.
one of these days we can go surf.
Cool.
So, do you? Well, your MacBook is it's not a MacBook. It's a Mac
MacBook
Air.
MacBook Air.
MacBook Air.
MacBook Air M2 processor.
M2 processor. It is ultra portable. It's a 13-inch, right?
Correct. Yep.
And so you're still pleased with that?
Extremely.
Hmm.
Yep.
Did you get a
I'm very
dock?
happy. No.
No dock. So when you plug up, you're just plugging up directly into.
So yeah, that's the downside is right now I have audio headphone jack connected on one side. I've got the MagSafe power adapter connected in another,
Hmm.
and I have a USB-C adapter which does both a USB-A connection to a hub and an HDMI output driving my big screen.
Okay.
So the USB-A goes to, like my mouse, a bunch of other stuff, like, mouse, charging my phone, microphone, camera, etc. So it's
Hmm.
going to a lot. So I have three connections that I need to click, click, click instead of like slap into a dock.
Yeah. Well, I have two. I mean, I have a dock on my MacBook Pro. It's
Mhm.
got a double USB-C on one side that I
Okay.
connect in, and that's got all my peripheral ports, the USB ports, video, Ethernet, and then on the other side, I still have to put in the power.
There you go. So it doesn't charge by USB-C by one of those connections?
It does, but it won't charge with that docking station. That docking station doesn't have, well, it's not really a docking station. It attaches to it. It doesn't have its own power source. It's getting
Got
its
it.
power from the laptop. So I still had to get power to it some way, and that's with its power cord.
Got it. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. I follow you. I follow you.
So I really want a 13-inch MacBook
Yep.
Air or a MacBook Pro.
Yep. I like them. And, like my first MacBook, I don't remember if I had the very first generation MacBook Air or if it was the second generation. But I really like them. And I just like the ultra portable. And, when
Hmm.
I'm doing work for hours at a time, I've got my external display right now. And, I can do spreadsheets and stuff like that, which is nice. But a lot of the time I'm just sitting at the kitchen counter or on my exercise bike just with the laptop. And if I'm doing like Zoom meetings or just sending emails or,
Hmm.
Slack messages, I don't need huge screen real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. My dilemma is I've got I've got too much hardware to justify buying a 13-inch ultra portable because I have a 13-inch ultra portable Dell
Yep.
and I have my MacBook Pro, and neither one of them are aged out to where I could. Yeah.
Can't can't delegate that to another employee or a daughter or a wife or something.
I probably could, and
That's what I used to do. Hand me
and
downs.
yeah, and then I was thinking with the 13, my Dell, the 13, it can do everything that I want to do except messaging.
Yeah.
I don't know why messaging is so important to me, but it is so convenient to have messaging right in my laptop.
Same thing. And this is why friend of the show Scott Wilsey gets, still gets irate because I started a Signal channel with him.
Hmm.
And he would send me a message on messages when I was on a Windows machine and I had to look over, start typing back on the small screen of the phone when I'm like, right here, I have this full-size keyboard right here, so that's
Yeah.
why Signal is still a thing. Plus, if you're paranoid and you don't want other people snooping on your stuff, there's another reason. So
Yeah. Yeah, but I do well, and sometimes I want to send full messages that have a lot of information, not just a "Hey Peter."
yep, yep, exactly, exactly. So
Hmm.
and you can't really rely on dictation because
Ugh,
that's a joke.
yeah.
Have you noticed dictation getting worse with not with Watch OS 9, but with iOS 16?
I think it's gotten worse all the way, and a word.
It is amazing. Yeah, dictation is just oh.
That's why on all my devices you are Peter the Greek because nobody can understand Nikolaidis anymore.
I was trying to message you that message I sent you when I was saying I was running, like ETA 10 minutes or something like that.
Hmm.
I was talking to my phone for about 5 minutes trying to get it to message you,
Uh-huh.
and I couldn't, and it just wouldn't listen. And it kept on asking me like which Adam Bell and like I would tell it, and it just I could not get it to message you. And then in the end, it's like, which Adam Bell? Give me your phone number or your iCloud account. And I would say, blah, blah, blah at iCloud.com because that's how it said it. And it says, okay, I'll send him that message, Adam Bell at iCloud.com. Like, wait, who are you sending? You were just asking me who to send to.
Yeah.
And now you're sending someone an email address. Like, what the hell? So that was
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I always fought. I mean, we've talked about it before, but I've always fought with a word about your name. I used to have to say Nikolaidis, which I'm like, fine.
Nicolas.
If I know that, fine. That's
Fine. Yes.
but but she won't even say it. But what's funny is I have a friend whose last name is Lesueur,
Yep.
and I said I was on a message. I was my watch and I was like, let me try it. Or my phone, I was like, let me try it. I said, call Ryan Lesueur. And it said, calling Ryan Lesueur. I'm like, you can say Lesueur, but you can't say Nikolaidis.
Well, that's the thing is I have to say Nikolaidis
Yeah.
when I talk to the lady in the tube.
Yeah.
And with Siri you can customize that. Though you can enter pronunciations of people. I don't think you can do that with the other thing though, with the A word.
Hmm. So,
So anyway. Well, there you go.
yeah. So, all right. And then we've talked about Meraki Go, haven't we?
I believe we have.
Yeah. So a little bit more. So I have implemented a Meraki Go. So that is Meraki. It's in beta. So it's Meraki's small business consumer home router. So router, Wi-Fi, switch.
Okay.
And the really cool thing about it is that you can manage it through the web portal, or you can manage it on your phone. And
Okay.
it's essentially the same. It's the same interface on your phone or web portal. It's just it's ported on your phone and it shrinks it down. It's got a different version for your phone, but it is still the same web page.
Got
So
it.
that is nice, but it's still a little janky as far
Okay.
as you know, how it works. And I have a Meraki address, and it did know when I tried to sign up for my Meraki Go, it said you can't use your same email address because you have a Meraki account in the Meraki
Yep.
Go. I get that. I mean, I was going to try that because then I'd only have one email address and different passwords for the different portal.
Yep.
But they talked enough that they knew of one another. So that, I guess that's good. So I signed up with a different email address. No problem. But this last time I had problems adding the device. It took a little while. MFA took a long time to set up. They're like,
Hmm.
"Oh, well, you set up your MFA." And then it said, then I go ahead and log in as MFA. And they're like, "Well, no, you're going to have to wait for the MFA to replicate." I mean, so it knew that because when I went to enter my MFA, it said, "Well, if you just changed your MFA, it may take up to 15 minutes to
Yep.
propagate." I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, that goes back to that delivery, the mass producing delivery. I think they've got a decent idea. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna last. So I've got a decent Morocco because I'm taking one down to the farm because I want
Okay.
to do some. I want to do some intelligent VPN routing
At the farm,
at the farm.
because that's
Uh,
where I always think about where do I need to route intelligently via
yeah.
VPN?
Well, so I have a Hulu account
Okay.
and I'm not sharing it with anybody but my immediate family. The four of us, my two girls, myself, and my
Yep.
wife.
Yep.
Well, I have to set it up. It recognized it here at home, but then I signed in down there at the farm, which is a different location, different zip code. It said, "Oh, you're in a different location.
Mm-hmm.
Make this your home or make that your home, but you can't have both your home.
Can't have two homes.
Can't have two homes."
Heaven forbid.
So I set up the farm as my home because the reason that I put it at the farm, or I wanted to watch it at the farm, is so we could watch football on the weekends at the farm. When I'm at home, I've got DirecTV, so I can just watch it here. But
Sure.
it's ridiculous because I am paying full price. I'm paying $76 a month for my Hulu account.
Yep.
I do have two houses. I'm not trying to pull something funny here. I'm not trying to share it with you on the sly or anything like that,
Yeah,
and
but
you're
we don't
paying.
know that.
Yeah, yeah, we don't know that, but it's not. I'm like, well, what if I just showed you my address at two locations? Can we not provide a method for this to be no, no,
No.
not
No.
even gonna
That's
consider
easy.
it.
That's easy.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna route all Hulu traffic from my home to my farm so that I can watch sports for which I'm paying. I'm I'm not trying to get anything that I'm not already paying for.
Right. And but they don't know that.
No.
So, yeah. And it's interesting when companies taking different approaches on that, ranging from the we're assuming you're a crook to the, thing what Netflix did for years and years was like, you can use it, share the account. Fine. Make 5 people on the account. It's great. No problem.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I noticed you had a question about me still liking Sonos.
Uh-huh.
So it's funny you mentioned that because like I'm embedded in the Sonos ecosystem. I have it throughout my home.
Mhm.
Pretty much every room in the house, not every room, but on average, there's more Sonos speakers than there are rooms in my house. Um, and I have this, it's AirPlay still is somewhat problematic, but it got better after I upgraded the hardware to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a lot of first generation stuff, and in Sonos's defense, it's all 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it still works pretty well. Like every
Mm-hmm.
now and then I'll get some drops here and there, and it's always with AirPlay, coming from my phone.
Right.
And so the workaround is like I don't play it everywhere, ranging from the third floor all the way down to the basement. I
Mm-hmm.
turn off a couple of those rooms that I'm not going to be in for the next few hours, and it works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm actually, as you mentioned that yesterday or last night or today, I actually thought about getting another newer Sonos speaker because I, had someone over and she was streaming stuff to one room from her phone. I wanted to stream stuff from my phone to another room,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't because I only have one Sonos speaker that has AirPlay enabled.
Ah.
So I couldn't do that. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, if I had a second one, so and Sonos keeps on emailing, we'll give you 15% off if you trade in. And I was like, it's hard. And then I have another friend who has the Denon stuff, the equipment, and I really think the sound quality is better than Sonos.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of on the fence, but like I don't want to rip and replace everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to have to think as much like, oh, well, when I'm in this room, stream to that, but when I'm in that room, stream to that. But and then the whole question about interference between the different devices.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do I want to go? I don't know. So overall, my Sonos experience has been positive. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest problems have always come around AirPlay and stuff like that. That's where the issues have been. So
Yeah. So I have a client right now that they're a point of sale retail client, and they want to have speakers on the floor. I mean, it's good for their environment, which I mean most retail do. I mean, so it makes sense. And they've got an existing, like just an old school speaker stereo system that they're using, and
right.
they wanted my advice. I said, well, first off, I'm not AV. We're not AV. We're computers. Now we got to work with the AV folks, but let me talk to an AV company that we
Mm-hmm.
work with. And I talked to them and I explained, and he's like, dude, you ought to just try Sonos. I mean, if you want to get a full AV system in there, fine. I'll come in there and look at it. But you could
Mm-hmm.
you could get you a couple Sonos speakers in that small place
Mm-hmm.
and run it, and it'll be just fine. So,
I've definitely put a few in there. I've definitely thrown a few Sonos devices in, like at least one business nearby that
mhm,
I've done some work for. And it seems to work pretty well. Like these are not tech savvy people, and years later, the only question I ever had was like, "What's the password for the Sonos account? We need to log in again." I was like, here's your password, which I do not share.
yeah,
So there you go.
and and you can run that on a PC or on a mobile device as far as like setting up music to run all the time.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, you can, and it's pretty slick. So
Mhm.
yep.
'Cause that'd be more what I would do at my own house. Is my wife's computer's upstairs, is run the Sonos software right off of her computer, and it's on the same LAN and same wireless. It's not segmented. It's all home, so I could probably do that.
Yep, exactly. Yep. I like it. I like it. The one thing about Sonos is you do have to have it on your main LAN though, because you control it via LAN as opposed to over the internet. So that's
Mhm.
something where you can't throw it on your IoT network
Yeah.
unless your phone also goes to them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Which is
overall, there you
kinda where
go.
it should be anyway.
Yeah, well, I would love to throw it on the IoT network. Yeah, your phone probably should. Everything should be isolated, but it can't be isolated. It has to
Yeah.
talk directly. That's the whole thing. So,
Uh-huh.
we're a little. I know we got a little bit of a late start, but I'm running a little bit late myself, and I do have another call I need to jump on. But I did want to
Alright.
throw in one quick nifty. I'll throw a
Okay.
fast nifty in, and then we can do a better one next week. There's this little free open source app called Rectangle for Mac OS, and it lets you size up, automatically do window snapping, and with a variety of settings. So if you ever want to like be able to drag a window and make it take up, say, the top half of your screen, or the left half, or 1/3 columns, or something like that,
Yeah.
Rectangle lets you do that. It's very similar to a Power Toys thing for Microsoft Windows.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty slick, and I like it. I was gonna buy something called Moom from a company called Manytrix for like $9-10 or so.
Yeah.
I found out that Rectangle was actually more intuitive for me and free, so I used
Yeah.
Rectangle.
Yeah.
Sorry, Manytrix.
Yeah.
On that note, we need to roll. So
Yes, sir. So
why don't you take us out?
we'll do it. So we do want your feedback. If you'd like to discuss a particular topic, or you want to tell us great surf locations where we can all three join up and meet and learn to be ultra surfers, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com, or you could hunt Peter down at paradigmcc.com, yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbeer.com, or at Nikolaidis on Twitter. You could find me.
Sorry, just a slight update there. Friendswithbeer.com. Oh, I can't say it. Scott will punch me if I say it right now.
He'll get so many.
Friendswithbeer.com is getting revamped soon. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave that out there. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No throat punching for you.
No punching in the throat.
All right. And then if you want to reach me, it's Sublime Computer Services at www.sublimecomp.com, or coming soon is our rrlavenderfarm.com. There is a splash page there, but you can see it. And you can find me on Twitter at SublimeComp. And with that, I think it's time to push the big red button.
Big red button.
Where is it?